The Discover Montcalm podcast is brought to you by WGLM 1063 FM, Be More Media, Busy Bees Embroidery and Vinyl Signs, West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, and DW Video. Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we are going to look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Dwayne Weed.
Hello, my name's Dwayne. I'm the host and producer of the Discover Montcalm podcast, and today we are going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about SEO, websites, all the stuff that you need to know about all of this to make your business work better. I have Stephen Rainwater here today from Be More Media. And we're going to, dive into all these tips and tricks and everything. Stephen, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.
I know that you kind of grew up in the Howard City area.
Yep.
And you graduated, you said, what year from Tri-County?
2012.
2012. Okay. And a lot of things have happened since. Can you give us a little background on yourself? Your family, what you've done, what you were doing as a kid, and some of your likes.
Yeah. So we actually lived in Oklahoma for about 10 years, and then we moved up to Michigan, and then we ended up settling in Howard City. And then upon graduation, I ended up joining the Army. Wanted to kind of leave a small town, get exposed to the rest of the world type thing, and spent about 6.5, 7 years on active duty. Traveled all over the world, spent time in special operations, got to know a lot of great people, a lot of great family members now, as I call them. Mm-hmm. And then we came back here, my wife and I did. We had our son at the time. And then we currently, reside over in the Greenville area and call that home. But I grew up in Howard City, spent about 5-6 years here. Love every bit of it, love the small town. Trying to come back actually up to Howard City. And then now I run a marketing agency to really help out small businesses, and I really love to help them grow as much as we possibly can.
At what point did you find out that maybe social media, marketing, that kind of stuff was a direction you wanted to go? Is it something you picked up while you were in the military, or was it something that one day you went,
So I actually had a other business prior to this one. It was called Total Reality. It was over in Belmont. It was a entertainment center, but it was also designed to help teach kids coding and other STEM-based activities. And that's kind of when I found out about marketing. I didn't really know how to get the name out there, so I started exploring marketing on my own. Mm-hmm. Started to fall in love with it and realized, hey, this is something that really excites me. I love to create things, love to be creative. And then COVID hit, so we ended up having to close that place down. But that's when I started to fall in love with marketing. I ended up pursuing a bachelor's in it, working on my master's now, and I really love to, dive into it, help businesses out. Love the SEO and website stuff. That's kind of my specialty. And then we're diving into the social media, really seeing how much that can be effective.
They all kind of, nowadays, they all tie together.
Yes.
Businesses need to have their business in many different areas, and depending on the business, I'm sure some might need this social media, others would need this just because of what they're doing. What is your overall company vision statement that you're trying to present to your customers, potential customers?
Yep. So our Be More Media is all about helping you be seen, be heard, and ultimately just be more profitable. Mm-hmm. We take a different approach than most marketing agencies. We like to educate more than we do like doing it all ourselves. A lot of our core values are based around aligning our vision with the different companies that we work with. We have a very selective process on how we work with companies. One of the big things we look for is, are they able to do it themselves as well? Because if you're a business owner and you don't really want to do it yourself, that's fine. But we feel that you should know how to do it, at least understand.
Completely understand that, because they are there all the time. Mm-hmm. You're not.
Right.
So if you can teach them how to use this little device right here, and how to do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
They're out doing things that they can at least be feeding some content on a consistent basis when you're not around.
Right.
I've learned that a long time ago. There's just times where it's easier to say, hey, I'll teach you how to take better photos with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll teach you how to do this. I'll teach you what you need to do for a description or a tagline, or take the photos, call me,
Yep.
and I'll help you. Type of an approach. So it sounds like you're kind of doing the same, type of thing, because they're always there, and most of them have a phone with them all the time anyway.
Absolutely. And some of our most successful businesses that we've worked with, we tell them, hey, we can help you. If we do it all ourselves, it's going to take a really long process.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take much longer than what you're expecting. But if that's what you're paying us for, and we totally understand that. But what we like to do is we like to go in and we like to help you guys out. So one of our successful businesses is actually located in Cedar Springs. They're a deck building company, and we meet with them almost on a weekly basis, going over all their marketing plans. And they submit blog posts. They do, they shoot all their own pictures, photos, videos, all of that. And we act more as a guide to help them. Hey, this is what you should be focusing on to really drive
Well,
that.
it kind of goes the same way that you might be able to watch a video and build a deck,
Mm-hmm.
but are you an expert in building a deck?
Right.
And I've worked with customers all my life the same way. It's like, okay, you're an expert in it for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pull off from that. But if I can help,
Right.
tell me what I need to do so that I'm not, so that I can grow.
Right, and that's where we come in with our expertise. Is like, for instance, with them, they'll do a blog post, and then we kind of come in behind to make sure that it aligns with, the keywords that Google needs, the social media aspect that they're trying to achieve. So this way, we can make it kind of pretty for the technology side, but they make it appealing to their customers to really connect with them.
They're boots on the ground.
Yep.
They're meeting with people all the time.
Exactly.
And, what is it that they want? And sometimes you got to pull that curtain back and say, okay, what is it the customers really want to see? Whether it's a deck builder, a retailer, I'm sure you've deal with a lot of different type. If you could offer advice to XYZ business owner out there that maybe doesn't have a budget, what is a couple helpful tips that you could give them that they could start right now and maybe start building something that would be positive? Do you have a couple ideas?
Yeah, so the first one is always good, and this always goes back to our initial consultations, because whether you can afford, our help or not, we try to offer some help any way we can. And one of the first things that we always tell people is talk to your customers. Don't just talk to them as a customer, but understand what they actually want, and then just deliver what they want. Like that's the hardest thing. It's kind of a hard thing to kind of grasp your head around because you're afraid to make those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to just ask your customers, hey, what can we do better? And then just provide that service. The next one is really Google My Business is a free service. And it is by far the most underrated service that a lot of businesses don't take advantage of.
I get calls all the time when I learned that. I feed it like I feed my other socials.
Yep.
Because people, what do?
They go to Google.
It's Google it. It is now a term that, why? Because it works. I may not be ranked number one on all the different things, but certain things that I do, you put it in there and I'm showing up.
Yep.
And that didn't just happen by itself.
Oh, it takes time.
And the other part of that is it's part of Google Maps. So it's important that you are feeding your Google My Business because that's the map people are coming to find you. So how do you do that? And again, I'm sure that if they hire you, you'll go through the stuff, but there's always something out there that they can do to help them in the Google My Business side.
Yeah, Google My Business does Google in general does a really good job.
Right.
When you're creating your own business profile, it has step-by-steps on what you can do. One of the big things to keep in mind is that every 7 days your posts on Google My Business actually expire. So it's almost like a social media, like you were saying. You want to at least update it at least once every 7 days. And one of the other big key things that we try to tell everyone, regardless if you're on a social media, website, whatever, don't try to sound salesy all the time. The more free information you can give someone.
Helpful tips.
Yep.
Helpful tips on how to care for your deck.
Exactly.
As opposed to how to build a deck.
Yep. So, for instance, going back to our client for our deck building, he when we told him that, he started to do more, videos on how to make decks. Don't be afraid to give away all of that stuff, because what's going to happen 9 times out of 10 is they're going to see that video, they're going to think it's cool, and then they're going to call you because they realize it's a lot more work than they thought.
I don't work on my cars anymore. if I can help it. But, there's an expert out there for a reason.
Exactly.
And you're that in the social media realm, Google My Business, whatever it might be. What are some good, helpful website tips that, let's say somebody already has a website.
Mm-hmm.
What are some tips that they can have on an existing site?
Yep. So your website is designed for one purpose, and it's to act as your storefront 24/7. But what you want to do with it versus just having a storefront is you want to tell a story. You want to invite your customers into your story and position yourself as a hero to help fix their problems. Because the reason they're going to your website is because they have a problem, and you want to offer that solution.
We do the same when we're looking for parts or we're looking for stuff that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself in the shoes of that customer that's
Right.
looking for your services.
Right.
And then give them the information.
Yep. The headline shouldn't be, hey, your headline shouldn't be the name of your business. Just it needs to be, what is your customer what's the problem your customer needs solving?
Right.
And that's what's going to invite them in. And that really helps out quite a bit.
I know there was a period of time, and I think we're probably beyond it, but your website definitely needs to be phone friendly.
Yes, 60 to 70% of the traffic online is mobile devices.
Yep.
So one of the things a lot of people honestly forget is to make it mobile optimized. They create a really cool, fancy website online, and then they try to figure out why their traffic is not there. And a lot of it is because mobile devices. If it's not mobile optimized, within a couple of seconds, everyone's going to leave. They have no interest in it.
Right.
So.
And it's talking again to your customers to figure out what you need.
Yep.
So part of what you do is you take a deep dive into their business. You ask
Yep.
a bunch of questions to try to figure out, okay, here's what you need.
Yep.
And we're all really good at wanting more than we can afford.
Right.
I mean, I love cars. Most of them I can't afford.
Can't afford a Corvette yet. We're working on it.
But we all have that. So as we're looking at things, somebody comes to you. They've got a need. How do you address the budget conversation with them?
So that comes down, we always ask them, we take the deep dive questions. We ask a lot of hard questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, one of our potential clients that we were meeting with is we ask them, how much are you bringing in every year? And that's not just that's not a sales tactic to go in and say, oh, well, let's match your budget with this. It's to understand, because sometimes a lot of these businesses will come in and say, hey, I'm ready for X, Y, and Z, but they haven't even made a sale yet. So it's really to understand where you're at and where you want to go. When we get to that budget part, we always ask them, how much are you willing to spend?
Right.
Because if you're not willing to spend, $1,000 for a website, then we can give you tips to help do it yourself.
Right.
But that's our time and that's our expertise.
You get back what you put in most cases. Nowadays, everything is trackable.
Yep.
But it's not. It's almost like going to the doctor. It's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's they'll diagnose you, but maybe what works for you won't work for me if we come in with similar.
Right.
So there is a point there when you're developing a website trying to make it work, or social media trying to make it work, that depending on what it is, you've got to go into your bag of tools.
Yep.
And it isn't like if there's one magic formula. I don't think.
No, there's absolutely not.
So, you could be working with two deck companies, two different areas, and some things may work in one and not in another.
Right.
That's where your expertise in knowing, this isn't working, but you can understand the why.
Exactly.
The why behind it. So as somebody's looking at wanting to do it, in your mind, what is your ideal customer?
So our ideal customer is someone that has a willingness to learn, that isn't afraid to spend money to make money. They really have to understand that. You can't just go around saying, you got to spend money to make money. I'm not saying that, we're outrageously priced, but we're priced in a way that we want you to have skin in the game while we're helping you grow. Because our goal is for you to do it yourself eventually. That is our process.
Well, and it makes sense. You can teach them how to do certain things, but then when the heavy lifting comes, that's where you're.
Yep.
That's where you come into play.
Be More Media helps businesses be seen, be heard, and be more profitable. Be More Media helps small businesses get seen on Google and found through digital marketing and print marketing strategies. Visit them at bemoremedia.com.
Can you give us an example of maybe a customer that came to you on the lowest budget?
Yeah.
And how over time you were able to help them? Because I think a lot of people that are listening think, oh my goodness, I need thousands of dollars to do this. When actually there is a way if you're patient.
Yep.
Is there something you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our clients, he does custom arcade cabinets, kind of like back in the old days with the arcades. And he came to us because he was trying to build a presence online. He had a really good social media presence. He had about 8,000, we're at around 7,000 to 8,000 people following him on Instagram. What he was doing was posting videos and stuff. But he really needed that help with a new website and and just online presence with Google and stuff. So he actually started with one of our smaller packages at $300 a month. And what we did was we went in there and we were building up his SEO. We were getting him presence online. And he called me it was like 8:30 at night one night. And that's one of the things that we tell all of our clients is, feel free to give us a call anytime. If we don't answer, just leave us a message. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Because we want to feel like we're a partner, not so much just a business. And so he called me at 8:30, and I just happened to be driving. I, picked up the Bluetooth. And he told me, he's like, hey, I don't know what you guys are doing, but keep doing what you're doing. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I just had a guy that he called me. He wanted to make sure his card went through. I was like, okay. It's like, I can check when I get home. He's like, no, don't worry about it. It's like, okay. He's like, because what happened was he said he found me on Google. He just happened to Google me, and he just spent $16,000 with me. I was like, wow, that's great. Congratulations. He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but you guys got to keep doing it because this is fantastic. And that to me knows that, hey, like, it doesn't matter what your budget is. Like, we're going to try to help you out.
Right.
Because now what we're doing with him is we started some email marketing with him. So we increased his his spend that he's spending with us because we're doing more stuff for him. But even the email marketing, we started that about 2 or 3 months ago. And he's already made a $1,500 sale from that. So
sure.
It's it's working for him, and he's happy as can be. And he's more than happy to refer people and all of that. And those are the type of clients that we really enjoy.
So it sounds like you are more into the smaller business.
Yep.
Somebody that really, you can walk side by side with. And I know with all the years I've been in business, I prefer to work with smaller companies because there's less committees.
Yep.
And if you can work in a smaller group, a lot of times you're working with the person in charge. Is there any other little tip or anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like the audience to know about Be More Media, about what you're doing, that you could share with us?
Yeah, so we don't just do marketing. We offer a lot of consulting. We have a lot of the people that work, with us in our business have a wealth of knowledge. We have someone that used to do insurance and finance and all of that. So we try to come in just because you hire us for, SEO, website, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that's all you're getting. We try to come in, if you need a little bit of help in a different direction with your business, we have tons of business consulting experience. We've only been in business for about 2.5 years now, but ultimately, we have a combined business experience of 15 plus years with some of the people we have on our team that are really geared towards just helping you grow. And that's our biggest thing, is the more you grow, the more we're going to grow as well. And it's a win-win for everybody.
And that's the beauty of it. I know that you and I are talking about some things with Montcalm County and Discover Montcalm podcast, also with, Be More Media, Cara Stevens at 106.3 Radio. It takes a team, and it's nice when the team can offer expertise in areas that you don't have.
Right.
I've always said, surround yourself with people that know more than you in certain topics, and you'll be successful.
Yep.
Henry Ford did it. That's how he